get the recording going. All right. So again, I'll start with let's say a hypothetical um, let's say CD, right? I don't even know if this is going to fit, right? In my base right there, because I think I'm working with bigger pieces right here, components, and then we can rotate it from there to there, maybe there. All right, it fits. Let's say that this was my original design. This was my CD. Okay? We'll zoom into the selected. Okay? Remember, there's this view, and to keep everything, again, one of the main ideas as presentation is clarity, right? And again, you're taking someone through a lot of information in a story that for us it makes sense, but for someone else that is the first time looking at this, right? You really need to take everyone through the entire process of the project, right? So what do I mean by that is that where we should start is we should select a specific view that we'll continuously or constantly be using, right? So let's see, what do I get once I press Southwest right here? And I think I like this one, right? This Southwest view, right? So perhaps even better, right? We can start with some of this right here, right? So what was this? Grid. That was the tessellation grid, right? Why is this important? Well, because everything happened here, right? And even better, right? How about, I bring this right there. And these are the kind of drawings that, you really, you'll see a lot. Oops, an extrusion, but let's move. Okay. So can we say that we started, with a grid, right? And then maybe I can do a line right here, vertical. Right? Say doing the vertical. So these lines that I'm building right now, right? They're gonna be a guide for when I am editing this in Illustrator, right? Again, showing that our beginning was a grid that from there that becomes our base, right? Our surface. And I think in this case, let me go ahead and fix it. These are all the things that I've learned that if you don't fix them right away, they come back. In the sense that I don't know if you guys have noticed, but my current base is actually smaller than my grid. You know that little error that I made when I was first creating these videos? See how they compound you all the way to the end? You guys remember what I'm talking about? Yeah. That it's like 21 units. Or no, it's actually 21 inches or something like that. Right. So then we match layer. Right. And then select objects to match layer, that one. And then we match it to that one right there. Extrusion, there we go, and then select that to the surface right there and delete it. And now these lines are matching. I'm actually even going to create a new layer, right, that call it projection lines. Right, these are your projection lines. Let's do a red, and this get dashed, right, and maybe even we'll move this, all of this, right, a little bit more. Right. There we go. Okay, so the command that we're going to be using a lot for this is called make b. Let's see if I can extend. Right. These lines right there. There you go. Make 2D. Enter. And I love using this command and what you get from it, right? So I'm just gonna make sure that I am as well on the right view. So I zoom selected, right? I think we talked about isometric. I think for me it was the southwest. Great, right? Create it like that, right? So I have the object selected, make 2D, right? This menu pops up again. Um, I apologize if you're using a an earlier version of Rhino. I really encourage you to start using the version 6. The more that I use it, and the more that I realize how much improvement there has been on this newly version, and it just makes things way easier, right? So you see that there's a number of options right here on this menu. Um, right, in this case, we're gonna do the view, right? Let's do the layers from input so that we keep the same colors. We don't need the hidden lines or tangents right now. Viewport rectangle, mm, we, we don't need that right now. And group output, yes. And there we go, we hit OK. And then nothing happened right here, it seems, but it goes to your origin, right? So this drawing gets generated. The first thing, be careful. I did select group the outcome, right? Let's see if that happened, right? It didn't, right? I mean, it's still different lines right there. So make sure that you select it and you group it. Right? That's really important. Let me go back to this object right there. For the base, it's, you mean this color? It's that color, that one right there. Yeah, the gray and then the black. No, we do that later. Yes. Okay, yeah, it doesn't give you a fill, correct. It does not. It just gives you the line. But do you guys see what happened? Right, I mean, it gives us that 3D view in a 2D way, right? I'm gonna keep going, right? So let's see where we see what we can get out of it. So that was number one, right? Uh, the which one? The make 2D. So again, maybe with this next one is gonna make more sense. And I'm actually gonna hide Benito for right now. I don't want to make a 2D of him. Let's see if I make this one right here, isometric, um, southwest, zoom, select, right, and then it's already selected. So make 2D, right? Hit OK, and again, right away as it comes out, I group, right, and then move it. You know, Alex is asking, right? Well, what are we doing? Like, what is this for? Well, it's think of it as tracing, right? For your and again, right now the background is gray, so it's hard to see, but there's actually a line right there, right? Think about this as tracing your model in a 2D view, right? In 2D views. I don't know if that makes sense, but if I go onto my um, 3D view, look, right? That's the 3D model of it. And then this is the 2D of that, which is this view right here, right? So it's kind of when you're in a freehand drawing class and you're outside, and then Professor Mireles, right, or whoever, right, asks you, okay, do me a drawing of 2-point perspective of the architecture building, right? Well, you're there setting up your vanishing points, right? Drawing your lines, right, by hand. But here the software is doing it for you, right? It's giving you that, in this case, isometric view of that 3D model in 2D way. Yeah? Correct. Yeah. Yes, and I think you said the right word, which is a picture, right? Which is a capture. I can go to let's say render view, right? And then capture this, right? Um, ISO, right? Isometric, southwest, zoom, selected, and then I can do actually even better. Let me show you guys. I guess these are all different methods. You're gonna see that it's used a lot. It's actually used a lot in architectural representation. One of the characteristics of this, or one of the main things about this, is that you actually get line works. If I go here, right, and I go to view, capture to clipboard, for example, right, what I'm gonna get out of this is what? A picture, right? It's a JPEG, right? Or I mean, different formats that I can select right here, but it's not editable in the sense that it's not lines. I can Photoshop it, right? But again, at some point, you're going to be using different methods, right? Maybe for some classes, you'll use just the JPEG, or for some other one, just the lines. But again, there's something about the crispness of using lines that is really, really nice. And I'll show you right now. Maybe we can start setting up. So again, perhaps right now maybe it's not really clear why, but once we start laying out the board, right, maybe you start seeing some opportunities where because I like for you guys to realize what the difference is. Part of it is right now that I want you guys to explore with this, because I know you guys will be using it later on with lines. It's actually lines, right? So let's go to File, New. We'll set up our boards, right? 24 by 36. Right, portrait, create. All right, document setup, edit artboard. All right, I'll create a new one. So correct. Correct, guys, right? I mean, so again, this is a culmination of a semester-long process, right? You guys were able to blend 4 boards together for your collages, right? We're gonna do the same for these 2 boards, okay? So that's what I have created right here, a new file with 2 boards. Mhm. So I have copied onto my clipboard, right? Let's say this image right there, right? So we have that right there, right? So I'll just leave that right now. Let me go ahead and create more of these views, right, from the make to D. Shade it. All right, let me go ahead and now turn this right here. Right, and then from there, right, maybe we can say that, right, I'll hide this, and I'll hide this guy. Again, I'll go to isometric, right? For me, it was the southwest. Just think about what's the best view to represent your project. Maybe I'll do another one, right? Make 2D. Select objects to make 2D. It's right there. Okay. I'll type group. Move it out. All right. Once we did that, right, we trace the envelope, and I can turn off my solids. All right. Selected. Make 2D. Select objects for make 2D. Those are it. Okay. Group. Move. All right. From there, what did we do? The wireframe. All right. We did the wireframe extraction. This, I believe, was from some unrolling surfaces that became a mess. So I'm just going to delete those. Right. And this is our now actually at some point actually I should actually start using this one right here, right? Because we also change our base, right? And for right now, we're thinking out loud, right? And we'll see what we'll end up using and what we don't. Southwest, right? Zoom selected. Make to D. Enter. Type group as soon as it comes out so that it's grouped out. Maybe bring it out here. My settings were different right here, so I'm actually going to go back and redo that. Right, make to D. Select object. That'll be it. What was different right here was the object properties, right? I wanted to have from the input, and I actually want to I want to not see the rectangle. So I'll hit OK one more time. Group. Bring your cursor over here. There you go. So this is a nice drawing that tells how we're now clipping the base, right? And actually, I'll use this one right here from now on. So isometric, right? Southwest. So since we're getting lines, yes, it helps to see the layers right there, the group right there. I just want you guys to practice with generating diagrams, 2D diagrams off of 3D models. Basically, that's the idea right here. That that again, very helpful skill to have. Now from there, right, we created our wireframe, right? So I can perhaps hide the floors since we're not using them right now, and right, maybe hide this guy as well, right? Zoom selected, make 2D, enter, group, enter, move it out of the way. From there, we did our, right, I think we're at this point right there. People, see if we can turn up, turn them off. Okay, hide them. From there, I can already move on to, actually, that's not true, right? From there, we actually have our envelope, new one, right? Envelope number 2, and we did the piping. Pipes right there. Envelope number 2. I think that's glass. Turn those off. And then guides right there. And there's that sleeping guy right there. So hide that guy right there. Select all of this, right? Actually, let's set up first isometric, right? Yeah, yes, you really want to keep it the same for all of them, right? So that again, you're training the viewer that it's the same view. I mean, it's constant, right? So think about it as a little sequence of actions, right? So and right now, hopefully that I put them together, it makes a little bit more of sense, right? So that's the square pipe right there. So make 2D, right? Select objects to draw, enter, right? Just make sure that nothing is locked. Too. Make sure that whenever you're working with the make 2D, if it's locked, you're not going to be able to select it. And if you're not able to select it, it's not going to be drawn 2D, right? The same with the hidden. If it's hidden, you're not be able to select it. So make 2D, select objects, right there, enter. Okay. It got thrown off somewhere here. Make sure that you type group right away, and then you move it out of the way. Get it out there. Now from there, right, we did start working on the envelope, right? Actually, that's not true. We added the floors. height. Say that right there. Make 2D. Select all of that. Subgroup. And then now we added the envelope right there. Make 2D. Group. And we'll get this out of here. All right. So I'm going to go into my top view. All right, so these are all, this is sort of the sequence, right? It's actually the first one, and I still have a few from the other file. Let me just change the order. That was the last one, right? So these are all 2D drawings, right, of your project. And this is what starts being a diagram, right? A diagram of the process, right? And again, let me go back to here. I think I left a couple on this other file. Here, this one. Let me go to the top view. So I started with this. I'm going to control copy. I can actually bring them onto this file. And then now I can select all of those, export. Let me create a new folder right here on my desktop, rather, folder, final board, right? Make sure that the file is Illustrator, to be Illustrator. It keeps it as the line, and that's the important here right there. So this is, let's say, process sequence. For the previous one, yes, that was because, anyone remember why? No, that was actually for for getting it to a scale. Yeah, yeah. And since these drawings are not to scale, that's okay. But that in that case is because we were doing the unroll, and I think we wanted to print to scale. That's why I was doing it as a DWG. That's what was working for me. So I'll save it right there. Say snapshot of current view, export viewport. That's okay. Uncheck that. Good. Order layers good. Okay. Okay. I'm doing them all as one file. Yeah, I'm doing just a single export. For me, it's just easier to open a one single file like this and just drag them over here. Right. Right now, I have these right here that they are the make 2D layers. What's important is that we actually have at least the different colors, and I'll show you guys how to use those. So make sure again the please remember layers it's on, right? So I'll select all of these ones right here, control copy, right, and bring them here. Now again, right, we start blowing these drawings up, right, and we start having these views right there. Which are the color lines of. Now the arrangement of these, right? Well, they can vary. Right? I mean, I'm just clicking on them right now, and I realize that they're not grouped. So that's something that I would do immediately. I'm gonna select all of these ones, group them. Select each of them individually and group them. Group, because again, you don't want to be moving them around, and then you realize that there's stuff missing from, you know, from the boards right there. Yeah. right there. Right, so we started off with our grid, right? And then, from there, we created the 3D city right there. From there, we isolated a particular piece right there. From there, we traced this envelope, right? Actually, no, from there, we created a smaller base, traced this envelope, extracted its wireframe, typed the wireframe, added surfaces and floors, and created a final version right there. Right. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right. Maybe I can break it like this. And you see that you're gonna find yourself doing these drawings a lot, especially for your other studios, right? Whenever you hear about a concept diagram, whenever you hear about process diagram, right? This would be a good start. Of course, each project may call for different options, right? So you see that later on, right? Well, what's the difference? Kind of back to Alex's question, right? Well, I mean, what's the difference between this and that, right? Exporting an image. Well, that again, this is a JPEG, right? This guy's right here, right? I can edit this. Right? These lines right there, I can fill them, right? I can change them, particularly, for example, right? In some of these ones right here, these red lines, right? These are construction lines. Just turn them into a dash, for example, right? And maybe I can do a dash like that, 6, and it starts telling that story. From there, maybe I can add, a little one, right? I can start doing this bolt. What is that, a 12, maybe a 14, right? Start doing kind of like that, right? And then we can start labeling them and numbering them. But let's keep getting drawings out. A big or an advice that I can give you for laying down these boards is to always produce drawings and dump them in immediately on your board, even if you have no idea where they go, even if you have no idea if they're gonna stay. One suggestion that I have for you is to start populating your board as you go. Do not wait to create all of your drawings and then begin your board, right? Make it a back and forth kind of thing. You will feel like you're getting somewhere faster because you are, right? You're actually producing as you go. Right? So that's an advice that I have for you guys. So that right there is the form process diagrams. Right? That from there, I mean, we can enhance this in many different ways. I will start adding an arrow, right? So I added a line, right? Draw a line in Illustrator. Let's give it a outline, right? Remember, how can I make this into an arrow? Well, I can add it right here, right? If that happened, right, that it's a little bit counterintuitive, right? That that should be on the right, that should actually be right here. You can just flip them there, right? Then from there, we have that, that was the original piece right there. Then from there, I can copy this right here. I really would like for each of you guys to explore how to do this, right? So that each presentation can look, I don't know if it's original, the right word, different, right? I'm just showing you guys without even thinking, how to maybe go about this, right? But there are many different answers for this. Okay, it's just a matter of maybe again doing a little bit of research, right? Seeing what you like, right? Seeing ideas, right? And maybe talking to me is, I see something interesting, right? This is what all of those are, right? These are concept diagrams, and you see the size relative to the final project, right? You see the elevations, the top side view, the exploded, right? The use. So I think that's always a good start, especially if you're like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Well, look, right? Just see how people do what you're about to do, and I think that's always a good start. And these are also, right, design process, right? These are the drawings that we're doing right now, right? And again, perhaps clients may not care about this, right? Like, I don't care, you know, I mean, just give me what I want, right? But here at school, we are concerned with the process, right? And this, what does this show? Well, your thinking process, right? I was like, oh wow, I can't believe you got from that box right there to this form right there, right? And that it not only that, but that it wasn't arbitrary, right? So you're right, Marvin. Okay. All right, my man. Just power through this one, okay? It'll be over soon, okay? All right. But again, once you start maybe looking closer into different representation styles and boards, right? Again, little by little, you'll have your own kind of, okay, now I want to try that, or I want to make it look like this or that. Right. So anyway, these are all the process diagrams that you'll see that you're gonna find yourself generating. Um, for this and all of your other projects. So from there, right, top view. Right, we have our top view. We can go onto our project. Let's see which one's the latest one. I think I have rendering. Let's try this one. Top view. This is my, let's say, final model. That's this right now. I'm selecting shaded view. Now for this one, right, let's see how to start looking with render view. I started adding some lightings, so that's why it might look maybe a little bit weird. Let's see. Start turning some of these lights off, and I'll show you guys how to add these in a minute. There we go. Right, and again, I have my. If you right click here, right, in this menus, you're gonna see all sorts of windows right there. Some of which we're gonna start using today, such as the rendering one, the libraries one, which is tremendously improved in this latest version, and your lights, right? Because you can render without lights, but it's probably not going to be a good rendering without the lights. So this is our top view. All right. So in this case, right, this is a technique that I want to share with you guys, right? That again, it really enhances drawings. Let me just make sure that these lines are actually off. What is that? Heights. So again, everything that is on and being able to be selected will get drawn. Okay, so I think that's good right there. We select object, zoom, selected, make 2D. I'm sorry. Let's do view, capture to clipboard. Remember that the viewport size matters, and again, if you are working on the Rhino, the version 6, right, you should be able to get this window right here. You can actually break, right, because right now it's giving me the viewport size, which it tells me right here roughly what it is, or actually what it is, 1300 by 754, so I can actually increase that, especially right now that we're actually working on a final presentation. Right, we can, maybe it's worth to increase the quality of this, right? And then maybe I can bring it over here. Okay, so that's it right there. I am going to actually get the make 2D from this top view as well. Let's see what we get. Right, enter. Hidden lines in viewport. I don't need the viewport. Group output, yes. By output. The one that I just turned off, I'll leave it. Right, so you can see it. The viewport rectangle is basically gonna give me a box. It's a margin. That's actually a really good word. It gives me the margin of my viewport. That's basically it. I'll leave it on so you can see it. So I'll click OK. right? So it's computing its drawing, right? And it gives me this top view drawing, and it's basically it's this Gerardo, that box right there. Um, and then from there, I can type export, right? Select this drawing right there. Final board, Adobe Illustrator, right? I'll put top view lines, save. Okay. I can open it. And that's what I get. Control copy, bring it over here. Right? And the idea now is to make it fit here. Right? And hopefully you can start seeing that the use of render and the use of lines, right, they work together. Right? I mean, it really enhances the presentation quality of any project, right? And right now, even if you just look at it as exercise, that's fine. If you end up using it in other all of your projects or not, that's perhaps maybe a different story, right? But at least for right now, you will be able to say that you know and can use um, the make2d command. Let's do something that I should have done first though, which is grouping. Okay, follow that, group it, flip this underneath it. That right there. Right there. I don't think it matches exactly, at least on that axis, but it matches there. I'm actually gonna get rid of it. I have that. Alright, and I have those lines right there. Okay, and that could be your site plan, right? Let's say your top view, and some alignment. Yep, I'll go over that right now, and that's for the rendering part. That's on right now, and I'll give you guys that in a minute. So then the idea from there, right, is to repeat that action in all of your views, right? So set view, we did the top. Let's do maybe the left right there, and make sure that you're on the right zoom, all select. And actually, I want to let's start with the front one first, and let's do shade it. Right, and that's our first view right there. Those are lights right there. Let's go to render. I selected a maybe not the greatest skin color. I was playing with some materials and I selected a black metal, of course, for my exterior. And maybe change that material. Envelope number 2. All right, leave it right there. So that's my let's say that's my front. So capture file, view, capture to clipboard. Right, have that right there. These are relatively big images, but that's okay. Copy that. And these are probably gonna have to get smaller. Copy this right there. And right here it's nice to align them. Maybe what aligns with which one. Type for make2d. Right. These are the lines right there. except for this right there. I'm not really sure what that one is. Make 2D. Oh, it's already there. Enter. Okay, and I won't do all of them, just so you can get through the rest of the drawings. Right, but I did get my top view. But you see how it's always gonna send the output onto the same point, which that's the origin. If I turn on my grid, right, you see that it sends the drawings to the origin. So I'm actually gonna turn it off. So it's really important that you actually type group, so you don't lose track of it. Right. No, no, not anymore. No, not anymore. No, we don't need that. As a matter of fact, we actually don't need these people to. I should turn it off because you see how. So again, hopefully you're starting to see how this command works. It really draws every line that is there. And these people was helping us for scale and for modeling purposes, but I don't think is the most appealing thing to have on a final presentation, right? I mean, this sort of, you know, um, no, I'm just talking about the make 2D right here. Because right there on the on Illustrator, right, we can actually add some silhouettes. But on your model, yes. I'm talking about this right here when I'm making 2D. Right? So we can just turn off that layer and hide them. So export. That was the top view. This is now front. AI. Okay. We go to our folder. And it's somewhere here. And we copy paste it. We group it. And we shrink it, we scale it down. There's this other one right here that has to be done. So it has been grouped already. And it should match. And I'll just delete that background right there. And in certain places, right, you may see that these lines might be too much. Right, so I can actually change the stroke perhaps. Let's see if and you get a sort of a crispness that you do not get off of the line drawings that you get the JPEG images out of the rendering. And that's primarily the reason to do the make 2D and overimpose the line to get that extra clarity. So I can turn on my rulers, right? So that I can align this. Alright, so that should go there, and that should go here. Alright, I align that right there. So then that means I need to get a little bit smaller. So I'm using these guidelines to make sure that they align. Turn those up. So we repeat that for the four elevations, right? The four sides. The next drawing, right, is your exploded axonometry. Right, that this one is one single expert. However, we need a drawing that has all of the components of the project. What do I mean by that? Let's see this one. I think I have this one right here. There we go. So what does that exploded axon wants? On your handout. Okay. What? All right, so it has three sections, right? It's one of them is the final envelope and the openings. The second one is the structure and the floors, and then the last one is the base and the surfaces. Okay, so let's do that. So I am going to select, right, the envelope and the yes, yes. So I select my model, right? Isometric. I'm gonna keep doing the southwest view, and then zoom selected. Okay, so I want to select the lattice layer, the envelope 2 layer, and glass. What is that? What layer is that? Glass 2. All right. So I am going to select everything. I'm going to lock them. Right now I cannot select anything. I guess that one I can because it's a layer that I'm on, but that's okay. That I need to move. So the next one as well is the lattice one. So I'm going to unlock that, and then glass, both of my glasses, right? So I have unlocked them, right? And this is where, you know, this view might help, right? So I'm going to move them, and even better, let's move them with a distance, right? Let's do, so that right there is about, I'm looking at the number right there on the bottom left corner. You see that I moved this and that changes. Right now it's at a 57, 67, 73, 78. Let's do 100 right now. Right, let's move this 100 up. Okay, and we have that right there. And then what's the next one is the, so I'm gonna go back and lock them. Now the next one is the square pipes and the floors. Right, so floors right there, unlock them. So I can now select them, move them, move, and then click on vertical. And then we have that right there. This was part of the current right there. And I can do turn off the wireframe like that. And let's turn off this people right here. People off. Okay. So this right here is the exploded axonometric, right? So did I create the new layer right here? I don't know if that was in a different file, but for direction lines. Okay. And I can type line, enter, vertical, so that I do a line from there to there. Do another line vertical from there to there, and maybe another one from there to there, and then maybe you can do another one vertical from there to there. All right, so start getting that, right? And again, I can select it, zoom, select it. And I don't know, perhaps the spacing might be too much. It's hard to tell you a number because I think each project is going to be different, right? Especially based on your forms. But for right now, it works, right? So I could go maybe to render. And we have that right there. Let me, what is that? And then don't forget to unlock your layers before making the um, exports. And let me hide that line right there. Um, so metric Southwest zoom selected. Um, make 2D. Okay. That's our top unit group. Move it outside, right? And we get this drawing right there that talks about the pieces, right, of your project, right? The main components, which are the structure, the envelope, and the base. Now, in this case, you see how it's all single lines. I mean, black lines. That's okay. So we have created that one. And then last, right, I'd just like to touch quickly, right, on rendering. As you can see right here, I've created this file, right, final rendering, and I'm creating a new file. I mean, file save as. Because, well, you're gonna start messing with the layers again. So it's highly recommended that you create a new file right here. And yeah, basically I did a save as, file save as, create a new file, because we're gonna start messing with the layers. So materials again on Rhino were highly improved right here, and one of the I guess we talked about this before, right? On your layers palette, you have your names, right, and these options, but you have the material. If you click right on, let's say, that envelope donut right there, right, you get this menu, right, and you can look for, different types of material, right. You can make them, but Rhino now has a built-in library, right? That again, if you right-click on this menu right here, click on libraries, right? You should get this library out, right? And I like to float it right here so that I can actually look at this previews larger. If you click on this menu right here and go to render content, this is the sort of the default one, the main menu, because you can also look up your files and add your own renderings right here, so you can get lost kind of easily. So if that happens, just click here and click on render content. This is all the built-in render content that Rhino has, at least on the new version. And from here, I mean, I suggest that you just familiarize yourself with all of them, right? And then from there you can select, right? I mean, architectural, ceiling, exterior, floor, roof, walls. If you're looking for concrete, it's under the wall, right? So you have concrete. And again, for me, it's a little bit hard to see. So I right click here, view extra large icons, right? And it gives you the preview right there of these materials, right? Let's say that you find one that you like. You click under materials right here on the right. If you do not have this menu, again, you right click and you bring out the materials, right? You might have a different layout than what I have here. I think you can fix that if you right click and you know, you go to horizontal. I think the default you're gonna get it like this, horizontal. I kind of like to have it side by side, so you just right click on this window right there, and then you go to this other layout. These materials I already added them. They were already they were not there. I'm sorry, I added them. But let's say that you find one that you like, um, you know, poured cement, right? Just drag it, right? Bring it there. Again, let's say that you want to go back, right? Um, you know, and you have a lot of stuff, right? Glass, metal, paint, pattern, plaster, textile. I think grass and all of that is under organic. Where is that? Organic. Bark, flowers, fur, grass. Now this, right? This takes in a different mode than your model, right? Just because you have basswood right now in your model, right? It doesn't mean that you actually have to have wood on your digital model. Quite the contrary, right? Now this is where you go back to your collages, right? And the original ideas that you had about this project, and what would this actually be made out of? Rusted metal, right? You know, you wanted some green roofs, right? Well, maybe that particular portion changes right there. So right click, view, extra large icons, right? Um, I already added some of these ones, fake grass black. I don't know why you would have that, but it can go better. Maybe for some sports, or I don't know. Maybe, sports, maybe, right? Plastic. Actually, some I've been eyeing. Huh? Yeah, but I've been eyeing some of these plastics actually. Some of this might be really neat. I don't know how feasible it is to have plastics on buildings, but I just really like how they look. Um, how about some metal? Render contents, metal, burnish, cordon, matte, mesh, polish, satin, textured. What's under textured? View, extra large, cast iron, right? Diamond patterns, hammer reflective, patina copper. Yeah, let's draw this one in there. Right. Got that right there. Cast iron. Go back. And I think I added some of this one's view extra large. And it gives you the preview of how the material will look. Anyway, once you have found materials that you like, right? You can add them in a couple of ways. I mean, one of the you know, one way that helps a lot actually is, you know, if you select your object, right, and let's say that you select a number of them, and then you go to the material that perhaps you like to add, right? You right click on it, assign to objects, or you can assign to the layer of objects, right? And again, it's gonna be different, right? I mean, and this is where layers are so helpful in the sense that if you assign it to a layer, right, you automatically assign it to all the objects within that layer rather than having to go around and clicking on the individual objects right there. So maybe let's try that. Assign to layers of objects right there. Correct. Yes. Correct. And actually what I had to do in this case was to actually explode it. You see how my interior walls are actually white and the outside ones are that now patina, whatever that is. I actually had to select my skin, right, and type explode so that I could actually select the outside walls separately from the inside. Because usually, right, even in this building, right, I mean, the walls on the outside have a different finish than the walls on the inside. And since they already have been offsetted, right, you're gonna have a difference of materials there, right? So I don't know. For right now, we can do that. Maybe we add it there. It didn't happen to some of these ones rather, so I can manually force it, right? Select the surface. Right. Right click, assign to objects. You can see that it starts giving you that preview. Now this right here, guys, this is the render preview. This is not technically a render. Well, I guess technically it is rendered, but not to its fullest and greatest potential. Right? In order to do that, right, we have to click render right here. But before that, we can actually right click on that, and it brings your rendering options, correct, right? Such as the backdrop. Well, first of all, it's the resolution and quality. Now, this is where renderings start to be a I don't know if it's annoying the word, but renderings take time. I know the computer computes for a couple of minutes, perhaps even 40 an hour, 8 hours, right? That it starts kind of generating these drawings. So the higher the resolution and the quality, the longer it's gonna take, right? So even right here you have the quality, right? Low quality draft, good quality, and final quality. That's of course where we would like to get the final quality, but before that we can start with draft, right? Right now, again, notice that the dimensions is set to your viewport, or you can specify specific dimensions for this, and as well as the DPI, right? Dots per inch, which again, as soon as you start bringing those up, the bigger the file it gets, right? So a number of things in order to render, right? Uh, First one is your view, right? Setting up your camera. And the second one is adding lights on the interior, because if not, you don't get a light source from the inside, so it just looks all dark, right? So let me see. I have some lights over here. I have turned them off. Um, there's a preview right here. It's called Ray Traced on this new version of Rhino, right? That starts giving you a little bit of a hint of what the rendering would look like. It's sort of a combination between a render and a view, in the sense that this has what's called passes, right? So actually, if you look at the bottom of the screen right here, it's actually regenerating, right? I think it's a couple of thousand of times, right? So I don't know if you keep looking at it, right, it actually keeps getting smoother and smoother, right? Yes, Marcus. Really? Maybe because it already saves something. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're saying that start with a draft, and then once you start scaling up in quality, it goes faster. That might be the case, right? So here, right, you start getting some sort of preview, right? But as soon as I rotate, right, it has to regenerate it again, right? Which is okay, but at least you start getting a sense of, okay, is this something I like, or is this something that I don't like? Now, going back to a few of the objects, right, before we set them up, right? Let's go back to our shaded, since it's a little bit faster to work with, right? Is our views. All right, so I'll zoom selected, set my view to perspective, right? And again, guys, I'm giving you guys probably like a 2 weeks worth of content right here. So just again, just let's just try to do our best, right? But again, a simplicity also helps in this case. So one of the first things that we need to decide is from what angles you want to show your project and actually save that. Um, a way of doing this is working with your camera, right? So let me go to shaded more, at least on this one's right here, shaded. And let me get set view, that's my front, let's do my left, this here. So if you type camera, right, and you click on show, make sure that you're actually under perspective, right? Let me repeat that, let me hide it one more time. Make sure that you're actually under your perspective view, right? That's highlighted like that, right? And then you type camera, and then you click on show, right? it brings these cones out, right? Which again, once you start rotating, right, and you look at those cones, right, it changes, right? If you think about a film director, right, or film, you're just working with film, and then you have those cameras, and it has the cone at the lens of the camera, right? That's what that cone is in essence, right? It works in this case to one more time um, lock all of your layers so that you can then, right, adjust these points, right, and you can manipulate, right, the view of this camera, right? And again, you see how I moved the points. Those points work just like any points in Rhino, right? And you can see if you look at my perspective view, right, how once I move those points, right, as you're getting a different view, it helps if you're not if you're under wireframe, so that actually you can see these other points right there, right? So look at my perspective view, right? This is gonna start moving, right? So it's a little bit more control way of setting up your camera, right? Now, in particular, right, something that I like to work with in this case is the aperture, right? This point right there in the corner, right? It opens up your lens, right? So you're actually able to capture a bigger um, view. Now, be careful with it because too much, you start distorting the image, right? You start kind of getting like that, right? So just be careful with it. But again, this is just the beginning of this, right? I mean, there's much more to it, but to be a Studio One, as long as we explore what we have. Also, the dynamic zoom command, which is you press Control, and you right click and drag in and out. You're able to zoom in and out a little bit smoother, right? You can do that. But once you have found the view that you want to use, right? Think about that view that, man, I really like my project from this angle. I don't know. For some of us perhaps that are good at taking photographs, right? I mean, you already know. It was like, oh, I look good this angle or whatever. Some of us don't look good in any angle, right? You're like, just some photograph me, right? But it's kind of like that. Find the because again, you only get one from the outside and one from the inside. Or you can be like, what are you talking about? All good angles, all angles are good, right? In this case, sure. But let's find one that you're happy with, right? Let's say that that's the one that I like, right? Well, let's save it, right? So let's go to set view, right? Name views and save, right? And then call it that, right? Next perspective. And then I like to number them because I look for number of them, right? So I have exterior perspective 1, so hit OK. But as you can see, I have already created some other ones, right? So once this menu comes up, you can double click on them. I have set up one on the inside. Right? That's another one on the inside. That's another one on the outside. Right? And very similar to the one that we just created, right? Which is this one right there. Right. And why? Well, because you're going to be doing this a lot, right? I mean, you're going to be adding materials. You're going to be, you know, maybe changing some stuff. And again, you can try to get it back, right? But more often than not, it's really hard to get it exactly in the same angle that you had it, right? So that's why you want to save the view. And no matter what you do, right, you rotate or you get lost in your model, right? You're changing something. You can just double click on that view and you're back, right? Yes, Gerardo. One, this one. Yep. Just one of the exterior, one of the interior. And that is why, I mean, we're only working with one, so make it be the best one. And again, it's just so that we can experiment with this. Now, the last thing to do is to add lights, right? You're gonna realize, right, that you start rendering without lights, right? You hit render right there. I'm not sure how long this is gonna take right now. I think it gives you a estimated remaining time right there that usually, you know, it's not very accurate. I mean, you start right now, it's at 2 minutes remaining, but all of a sudden it's going to jump to like 20 minutes remaining or something like that, right? But actually, I can start seeing right away that the underneath of my floors are really dark. And actually, as a matter of fact, everything inside is really dark, right? Outside, I have the sun on and the skylight on right there under lights. So, of course, the outside is lit, right? Now, the interior, not so lit, right? Let's spark it up, right? It does, but just like anything, right? I mean, just like in real life, right? I mean, it's bright in here right now, but if we turn on the lights, it gets brighter, right? And actually, I'm not gonna say that it's exactly fully like life because you're right. Technically, there should be, but it light bounces off differently rendering here, so we need to add lights. And you can see it right there. Those dark spots right there, not ideal, right? Those right there, not ideal either. So one light that really helps, and again, highly improved in this new version right here, you can add them automatically from here. Click on this plus, right? Is the point light. And again, they're very, you can figure out what they are, right? The rectangular light, sort of what we have out here, up here, right? Linear light, maybe a combination of these, but also kind of like what we have hanging there, right? Or more like LED tape, right? That you can actually hide it very, very thin. Directional light, I haven't really used that one much. The spotlight, which is these guys right there, actually, those four spotlights right there. And then the point light, it's sort of a light bulb that has light all 360, right? So let me bring one of those out, right? Point light. I'm gonna do it from my top view, right? So it's out there, right? So I'm just gonna drop it anywhere, right? And then from there, I can go to a wireframe view and place it wherever I want. Now, if you do this while you're on rendering mode, let's say render view, right? Check this out. As you move it, you'll see that the light moves. Right, and you actually can see what's going on. Now, if you look at your front view, right, what's happening? Well, it's actually buried somewhere in the ground. So we bring it up. Cool. Nice. So we have that spotlight there. Now it's deceiving. Okay, it looks pretty lit right now inside. I'm pretty sure if I render, not quite there yet. And that's because actually in this case, right, in this project, right, there's 3 different floors, right? 1, 2. Actually 2 only, right? But we need a light. Just think about it, I guess, in the practical way. I mean, we actually need maybe a light right there, maybe another one there, but then definitely on this interior space, we also need a couple of them, right? So let's see, where are you? So we cannot see it on render, right? But we go to shade it, right? And that's what these little guys are, right? Floating. Right, so those are those lights right there. You see the light, but you don't see the source of the light, if that makes sense, right? Again, let me go back to my view. I think this was exterior perspective 1. We can add as many as you want. You can actually even name them, right? We can call this first floor, right? You can play with the intensity. You can also play with the color of the light. Get kind of funky with it, but again, I would suggest not doing that in this case, right? I mean, just try to maybe work it off as clear as possible, and then maybe have some fun with them. I'm making a copy of it on the vertical. Maybe add one there. Go to render. Nice, there's being a little bit more lit up. Right, start hitting rendering there. Half, so that's 2 12 by 18s, right? And that's Thanks for the question, Eric. That's a good question. Yes, for the test prints, right? Let's do 12 by 18, which is half of the 24 by 36. And let's do color as well for those. I would rather be the bond that they have here at the lab. It's whatever they have right there. The kind of like what you guys use for your logos, or for what these guys have been using, right? I mean, I'd rather not be the glossy one. Not a big fan of the glossy paper, to be honest with you. Well, we're getting something right there. I mean, it changed, right? I mean, all of this was black, right? Black, black, black. All of this was really dark. So that little light helped a lot, right? Um, so unfortunately, you cannot model while this is rendering, right? I mean, it won't let me, so I'm gonna actually stop it, right? Um, I do wanna see some of the things right here. So I'm gonna stop it. You can actually pause it, which maybe helps right there. Cancel this, we just have to save the image, no. Now the last one that I like to help you with is the interior. Now the camera, right, you can set that up on the outside, pretty much like you would for any drawing, but the inside is a little bit trickier. Right? The inside it's a little bit trickier. The first thing that I would suggest is get your camera as small as possible. Right? Small in all directions. Right? Get it really, really tiny. Right? Right? And then, oh no, yeah, setting up the camera is always fun. Right. But if you have your gumball on, that really, really helps. All right. Okay. Now the question is, where do you want to place it? All right. Where do you want to set this up? And this is where all of your views, right, help. Right. You want to find it the top. And once you maybe find a place that you like for it, you can start opening up, right? Start with opening up my aperture, right? And your scene starts, right? Well, I guess right now my lights are too much, so maybe turn this off so I can see this better. All right, and I'm already on the inside. Right, so if we select that one, we can move it all together. How about maybe one from the first floor? Actually, maybe we can start doing this. Right, select that center corner there. Start looking up. Right. Start looking there. And again, immediately as you find something that you like in terms of a view, save it. Because again, it can start being really, really annoying working with the camera. So just go to set view, name views, save. That was exterior perspective 1. In perspective 1, save it. And I can always go back to it. And say that I get lost. And kind of just rotating around. Right. Dynamic zoom, control, plus right click, scrolling in and out. And perhaps you want to rotate and see what views do you like. Maybe I like that one more. Right? Pam says yes. Right? So, well, let's say both. right? That's where again I can you select the one that you had already created and save. It will have the same name. I just changed the number at the end. All right, click OK, and now I have two to select from. Right, I have that one or that one. Right, oh, kind of like that one right there. Let's turn on the lights. How does this look? It will start rendering. So if you have more than one laptop, this is where it helps, right? Because you can have one rendering and then one that you keep working on, let's say the board, um, right? Because everyone has more than one laptop, right? What else? Huh? And it's just, again, you generate an image that you like, throw it immediately onto your board, right? I mean, while you're waiting for something, right? Maybe start adding boards, titles, I'm sorry. Just again, be careful not to saturate your processor, right? Because it will crash, right? So just save. Make sure that you save constantly, and that you are patient. Do not start clicking like crazy on something. Just wait. Just wait. All right. But but there you go. I mean, you can start getting some really interesting views, right? Very nice renderings. But again, rendering on its own, it really is an art, whether it be in digital or by hand. So again, you will start playing with it, but you'll get better with it as well. Don't get uh-huh. Correct. Correct. Now the question is, do you want to add them into your elevation as well? Right? Like the ones that I generated, the elevations that I generated right now in this file have the materials, right? They do have the materials. This one's right here, right? And again, once you start seeing all of the drawings together, right? I mean, you really, right, can see better, right? Oh, that's the front, that's the back, right? That's this material, that's that material right here. REXXER. REXXER. Rex. REXXER. Yeah, I mean, you will find me always posting stuff that perhaps not for this one, but for other classes. Or I have tons of boards, model making, representation, you know, types of architecture. And this project kind of reminded me of what we're doing actually. Taken to a full next level. Some of you guys were asking me, right, how can I clean those edges and those corners? Well, we'd actually have to do something like this. But again, this is a much more developed. You see how there's that meeting point right there where all the corners come together, right? That's the way to clean it up right there. But we did not get to that point right there. But again, it's incredible what we've been able to do in this semester. So you will get to it eventually. But this is another example right there. And again, another thing is hierarchy, right? You see how the process diagrams and even the sections are smaller than perhaps the main image, right? And again, how much effort you place into certain drawings rather than other ones. Have another one right here, another drawing right here. Hey, kind of similar with what you guys have, right? Your structure and envelope. But this one's right here that start blending the background and foreground are really interesting as well. Chinese, Korean, Korean. Um, yeah, and hopefully maybe even you start developing your own boards, right? And again, referencing them. I think it's just the new generation, right? I mean, I think it used to be books and magazines for sure. Um, right now, with this, it's pretty cool because you can access it anywhere, right? So I know for me, even when I'm working with friends or whatever, just sharing ideas, right? I mean, well, more like something more like this, something more like that. I think this right away or faster kind of communicates that. But titles, right? I mean, titles, your statement, right there. I think these are all excellent places to start. But of course, each of you guys will add, your own flair to it. So this is one of the images. You can see it's coming out. What do you guys think? Alex's 100, right? It's all right, right? I'm sure it'll be much nicer once you start working on yours, right? They're like, it's cool, but I'll show you mine. All right, guys. So again, a bunch of information that I just thrown to you guys, right? Seems that some of us are early waking up. Hi, my very good morning, right? All right, but again, 4 more days, guys. Can we maybe start today, right? After coffee, right? Of course, yeah. Lunch. So, any questions before this is still going? I forgot. Before we start talking about lunch plans, this is sort of a large file right here, Brian. Correct. Yes. 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 And you do want to at least, give it a shot right there. So again, see me if you have any problems or questions, but you're surrounded by a bunch of media talented classmates. So again, just try to work together at the lab or something like that they can someone can assist you. But we'll get you through it. It's primarily importing stuff right there and adding text. So again, however we can help you, we'll get you your questions answered. Your answer questions. Right. I do need food as well. So all right, guys. How long has that been? I don't know how long this one is taking. So questions, other questions? Do I watch my video after I post them all the time, man? What are the and I do that? Okay. All right. You're giving me homework now, but all right. I'll put that on my wish list for sure. I'll learn I'll look into how to do those. That actually sounds pretty cool. I mean, there's this cool thing called paper and pen, and then you just write down, oh, lights at this point, and then you give that to me, and then I'll add it. How about that? All right, I guess because it would mean that I had to go back but the thing is that they're so all over the place, the videos, that I might could lights right here, but actually don't finish adding the lights until this point, which by then I already covered all of this things. But I know, no, trust me, I would like to make these videos more kind of like pop, 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 pop. But since we're in the middle of the class right now, the lecture is, but they will, Gerardo. Check back 2, 3, 4 semesters later, man, amazing videos. But to answer your question, yeah, I play them in my room, fall asleep to my own videos. Not really, not really. I do watch them. I do just try to catch some of the things right here and then. What else, guys? Questions? I think this is the longest video. Yeah, you need to get started on them. It's open, right? Shaded or rendered. Again, I'm looking for clarity. Actually, it doesn't at this point. Whatever you find, I think they sell the white one right here at class. All right, I'm gonna pause this. Yeah, I'm gonna stop this. All right, guys. Good job, guys.